Well, good morning. It is that time of day again. It is Bedhead Chat with Chad. Yeah, it is 7 a.m. here in Alaska. I just got my drink done in time. That's my first sip of the morning. Been running around doing some stock trading. Just crazy morning. I've been up. It's not like I just woke up just in time to do this, but for not having much to do and not having a shower, not having to shave, well, I barely made the countdown. Because when you like pre-organize this, it gives you this going live in 10, 9, 8. I felt like I'm on a movie studio. The whole idea of this is that I don't feel rushed, that I just get to have fun and relax. But that's okay, because you know what? I'm live and I'm with my people. So, good morning and welcome to this morning's episode of Bedhead Chat with Chad. And I've titled it, this morning's is called That's Good Chili. So, I don't know who's on right now. I see 5 people. But here's the deal. I've already got some names, some words that were given to me by people. And if you're listening now and you want to give me some words to work with throughout this episode, I will add them. But feel free to throw some words on. In the comments, I can only see so many comments at a time. That's the problem here. Once there's so many, it just doesn't let me go back. So I will look at them and I will throw them in tomorrow. But the first word that was thrown out, and this was by Teresa. Teresa, if you're not on yet, I apologize. You're going to just have to watch it later. But she watched it late yesterday. And if you look at yesterday's feed, she wrote lemons, 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 lemons. So I think she wants me to talk about lemons. And I got to be honest, the first time I saw the word lemons triggers dish soap. Ask me why, I don't know, but it's that lemon scent stuff, that Ajax. I don't know if that's even the right word for it, but if that's the right kind of soap. But I just remember this cheap stuff. The stuff that you buy at the dollar store. And maybe it's not Ajax. I haven't washed dishes in a while. Good morning, Tammy. It's been a while since I've washed dishes. I do dishes once in a while, but I couldn't even tell you what kind of soap we use. So, Ajax. So, I was a Boy Scout once, and I was really good at starting fires, because when I was a kid, I lived out in the country in the summer. We stayed at my grandma's house, and I learned how to start fires from scratch. Well, the Boy Scout troop I was a part of, they didn't actually start fires from scratch. We were at the conservation club, and the group I was part of would sneak into the shed, and they would grab gasoline, and they would start a fire. Well, one morning, I was always the early bird. I got up early, I got all the sticks, I got everything going, and I had this beautiful fire going. Well, later that day, I get called in, and they take me to the adult leaders, and I get accused of using gas to start a fire, which I totally did not. And I'm upset because they're the ones doing it, and they accused me of doing it because I had this beautiful fire going. So I'm a young Boy Scout, and the evil part of me, that evil Chad, that zit I talked about yesterday, was back then, I was covered with zits, but it wasn't a zit. It was just who I just could do bad things back then. So I was going to get revenge. And so what I did is, they were making chili for dinner that day. So I'm like, forget this. I went in the camp, no one was there, and they had this lemon soap, dish soap, and this big pot of chili. I'm talking one of the big camp pots. It was for a bunch of people to eat. And I just took dish soap and I just poured it into the chili. And then throughout the day, I just kept coming back because I was still angry. Because I got in trouble. I couldn't do things. I wasn't allowed to be part of things because I was punished for using gasoline. And by the time it was done, I put a half a thing of dish soap into this chili. And that night, they started eating the chili. And just in our little group, there's 2 troops. So there was the younger and the older, or 2 packs. I don't remember how I should know this. I just led a group 3 years ago. And I was so good. And of course, I said I don't like chili, so I didn't eat. And I told my brother, who was in the other group, don't touch the chili. But it was so good that they shared it with everybody. So everybody All the adults, all the Boy Scouts, everybody was eating this chili and thought it was the best chili they've ever had. Yeah, the bedhead. This is just natural, man. I don't have a makeup artist. But so here's everybody eating this chili that had a half a thing of lemon dish soap in it. So the next day, just so you know, the next day they let me participate. You know, we went out and did a nature hike, and one of the things we had to do was boil a cup of water in a paper cup. From, you know, start our own fire from a little bitty fire and boil. And I was the only one. Well, Todd did too. We were the only ones that could actually start a fire. So I was vindicated because I started a fire with flint and steel, and I boiled the water in a little paper cup. So little evil Zit is coming out now. Screw them. They got there. Oh, and by the way, they spent a lot of time in the Porta Johns that next day. So, yeah, that was my lemon story. When life gives you trouble for gasoline, you make lemon chili out of it. So, Jeri, and I don't use last names, but you can look and see on my comments, Jeri asked me to use the word goat. And I am not a farmer. I didn't get raised in a farm, but I've done a lot of travel through 4-H. Hey, Sharon from Florida. In 4-H, I got the opportunity to go to Jamaica. And when I moved to Jamaica, here's the thing. They did not prepare me for real Jamaica. I'm thinking that I'm going to tropical paradise. And the first city I went into on the very first night was Kingston, Jamaica. And I got to tell you, where I was in Kingston, the only memories I have, and they may be exaggerated, but it looked like a war zone. I remember literally, I remember this very well, taking me to the house I was staying the first night. It was all cement, and we drove down this road, and literally you would drive through people's yards because the roads would have such big holes. It looked like bomb holes. You'd drive through people's yards to get there. But we ended up, I ended up going into Mandeville, which is one of the nicer areas, and we were right up at the top of the mountains in the middle of Jamaica. And the first night we had dinner, and it was goat. So when we went for the goat, we had goat. They said, "Oh, it's goat." I'm like, "Okay, I'd never had goat before." Well, as I had the goat, they didn't warn me, and I bit into the goat, and I ripped the whole inside of my mouth open because there was bones all over this goat. Well, needless to say, the next day they took me down the hill into the market, and I went to the market to get food, and we went to get goat. And what they do, now when you went to the market, this is back before it was dangerous, but they still carried M16s, like the police carried M16s there. And we went into the market, and of course I'm the only Caucasian person there, only American there, because this is not touristy. So it was very interesting in itself, and I'm only, I think I was 17. And we go to buy goat, and literally here's this goat that's skinned, hanging there. They grab the machete. So here's another machete. See, I'm bringing machete back in from yesterday. They grab a machete, they chop a piece of goat off the edge, and then all they do is they go chop, 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 and then they put it in a bag, and so bones and all, it was just this goat pieces. So that's how they cook it. So there was no nice filleting and all this. So yeah, my first experience with goat was a gash about 2 inches in the side of my cheek. It was good, but yeah, so I've been scarred for life, and somebody used the word scar, so I just threw scar in there too. Whoever put scar, see, I got a bonus word in there. I don't remember who said that one. I think it was Tammy put the word scar. So scarred for life from goat. So yeah, that was, when I was in Jamaica, the other thing, it was an interesting, so I was in Mandeville, and there's no water. So I'm going to Jamaica thinking, I'm going to the ocean, I'm going to palm trees, and so when I was in Mandeville, it was really nice, but I also didn't know what palmetto bugs were. And here I'm a Michigan boy, where palmetto bugs, if you don't know what palmetto bugs are, they're giant cockroaches. I mean, literally, and this is not an exaggeration or a lie, the first one I experienced is I woke up and it's on my head like this. And I'm thinking these are cockroaches. I mean, there's no glass windows. They're shutters, And we lived in a rich neighborhood, so they had bars over the windows with shutters. So that's the only difference, is there is bars versus open with shutters. But there was these cockroaches everywhere, which were actually palmetto bugs, which I learned more about not until I moved to Florida. But there, I thought the whole time I'm living with cockroaches. But that was a nicer area. Then, this is for 4-H, so I was living with families. Then we went to Black River. And Black River is actually on the ocean, but it's also known for crocodiles and sharks. So the very first week I get there, so I'm there in Mandeville for 2 weeks, and I'm in Black River for 2 weeks. We go to Black River, and they're going to take me to the ocean. So we go to the ocean, and I got my swimming shorts on, because I haven't seen the ocean yet. We flew in at night to Kingston, and then in the morning we went, and I hadn't seen the ocean. I've been in Jamaica for 2.5 weeks, and no ocean. So they take me to the ocean. It wasn't the prettiest thing. It was beautiful, but it just wasn't what I expected yet, because it was, wasn't touristy. It wasn't my expectation. So I start swimming into the ocean. No waves, no anything, just smooth. And I start swimming out. And next thing you know, from the shore, they're all waving. They're like yelling and screaming and hollering. I see the 3 of them have like guns. They're like pointing guns. And they're just yelling and screaming. And then I hear them, because I'm probably 50, 60 feet out. And they're like, "Shark!" And I'm like, what are they saying? And I look, and about 30 feet away, I see a couple shark fins in the water. Now, I am no Olympic swimmer, but I could have done the Olympic trials that day, because I swam like never before. So I've swam with sharks before at Disney, which was fun and safe. But that day was not fun, and that day was not safe. So just to make my trip even more fun, the last day I was in Black River, they decided they're going to take me on a canoe trip, just for fun, down the Black River. And as we start going down the river, I'm with the father and son, and they both pull out their pistols. And I'm like, "What are you guys doing?" "Oh, we're going to shoot crocodiles." What? We're in this little canoe, and I'm talking crocodiles, not little, and they're going down looking to, and we're not talking big pistols. We're talking tick you off and make you tip over and eat us kind of pistols. And I'm like, "Dear God, please let us not see any crocodiles." So I faked sick, so they turn around, because I'm like, no, we are not shooting crocodiles. We're not going to tick off crocodiles. We are not the crocodile hunters. So yeah. Not to mention, my guy, the dad, was a drug dealer. So I saw more ganja, that's what they call marijuana in Jamaica, ganja, than I've ever seen in my life. I saw fields and fields of it as helicopters whenever we're trying to find it. And last but not least, mangoes, whatever you want to call them here. Pig food, that's all I'm going to say. They're pig food in Jamaica. So yeah, the next one, Taylor Liggett. She pushed me yesterday on drinking. I will tell you a drinking story, but it's not what you think it's going to be. But I do have one for my incriminating word at the end of this session, because I was pushed by my sister-in-law to tell a story using the word bachelorette. So I'm pressured there. So I'm going to tell my bachelorette story at the end, which is my one incriminating story of the day. But drinking. So back in my youth pastor days in Dowagiac, and this goes back to a Perkin Beans story. We had the coffee shop, and there was a guy came in, and he ordered a 32-ounce espresso, and he spent all day drinking this thing. Dave Fleischer, he'll know this story. 32-ounce espresso. So Danette, the owner, called it the 911 and charged $9.11. Well, no one ever ordered one again. So I put a challenge out to any youth in Dowagiac. If they wanted to challenge me to see who can drink it the fastest, I'm game. Well, the last day of school, I get a call from Danette, and it says, "You have been challenged." So she started making the 2 espressos. She set us outside on the patio. So this is the last day of school. And I get there, and we've got 2 32-ounce espressos that are cooled down a little bit, and 2 biscottis. And this guy named Sean sitting across from me. So here we are with 2, now listen to what I'm saying, 32 ounces of espresso. And this isn't the Starbucks weekend stuff. This is like gourmet, properly brewed, kick you in the butt espresso. And so we start drinking, and I've got a cup, he's got a cup, and we're being gentlemen about this. So we both take a sip, and we go down about a quarter of the cup, and we got somebody timing us, and we take a bite of biscotti, and we're like, oh, this is casual, this is nice. And then we set it down, and we both pick up the cup again, and we take a sip. We're about halfway down, and we're about a minute in now, and we take a bite of biscotti. We're all nice and casual, and then we set down the cup, and we're casual. We're talking to each other like, oh, this is rough. Yeah, and then we pick up the cup, and we go for the third drink, and we start drinking the third drink, and he sets the cup down before I do. And one thing, if you don't know about me, I have the power I can just chug like no one's business. And when I saw him put that cup down before me, I just went glug 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 glug, and I downed that. So I downed a 32-ounce espresso in 2 minutes and 48 seconds. He got in about 3 minutes and 10 seconds because he saw me and he went right back up. So he was behind me. But 2 minutes and 48 seconds. 32-ounce espresso. Now let me tell you, the espresso that she had, this is the caffeine content. One shot of espresso equals the content of 6 cans of Mountain Dew. Now, the story isn't that I did it in 2 minutes and 48 seconds. The story is that for 2 days, and Dana will tell you the story better than I will. For 2 days, every part of my body stunk like espresso. I could have ran a marathon. I talk fast already. If you think I talk fast now, I was sweating, I was stinking, I was pooping, everything. Every part of my body was stanky espresso. I could not sleep for 2 days. If I did it today, COVID's got nothing on 32 ounces espresso. That's all I'm going to say. It was insane. I will never, ever do that again. There's a reason that we call it the 911 drink. So do not try this at home. Yes, Tammy, that stunk like espresso too, more than you know. My sister just called me a weirdo, but yes, I am. But on a more serious drinking story, I'm drinking right now a white chocolate raspberry cappuccino. It is actually sugar-free decaf. I'm completely decaf-free after this 911 experience. I can't even touch caffeine anymore. But my daughter, most of you know that are on here, whether you know me or you've seen my Facebook, it's pretty clear that I lost my daughter Kylie 3 years ago and her fiance Jalen in a car accident. Her favorite coffee drink from Baker's Rhapsody in Dowagiac, slight commercial. Baker's Rhapsody, support your local businesses. They're doing carryout. They have a nice Easter basket, cookies and bakery goods. Baker's Rhapsody, look them up on Facebook or online and support your local businesses. But she loved the white chocolate raspberry. They have a different name for it, but it's basically a white chocolate raspberry cappuccino. And I was always there when I was the pastor in Dowagiac. And she called me from work one day and said, hey, Dad, will you deliver me a white chocolate raspberry? Now, this is 15 miles away where she worked. I'm like, sure. So I get this all packed up, and I take it down to her, and I pull up to her work, and she's sitting in the door with her friend, her coworker. And I see her sitting there waiting for me to get out of the car to bring it to her. But I can see by the way she looks that she told her friend, see, I told you I can get my dad to bring me a cappuccino. So I just sit in the car and I make her get out and come get it. And when she gets to the car, I roll down the window a little bit and I said, I bet you told her, see, I bet you could get her to come, I bet you could get me to come bring you the cappuccino, didn't you? She goes, yeah. I said, yeah. And I said, I bet you I can get you to come get it from the car. So Kylie and I had this really great relationship where she's a lot like me. She was very, the stories I'm telling were stories that she could tell. If she lived to be my age, she would look back and she would do bedhead chat with Kylie and tell similar stories of devious, fun, crazy, and heroic stories. But yeah, so every time I drink a white chocolate raspberry cappuccino, I think of her. The next word, Circus from Patti. So I've been to many circus, but 4 years ago or so, for our anniversary, I looked up. It was called Cirque du Soleil, or I think that's a Cirque du Soleil in Chicago. And originally, when I bought the tickets, I got really good tickets, like almost front row, and I thought it was like Cirque du Soleil, and it is actually Cirque du Soleil, and it was amazing. It was not Cirque du Soleil, but it was basically a minority circus, and it was in the south side of Chicago. And when Dana and I showed up, and I knew what it was before I got there at that point, but when Dana and I showed up, it was in one of the parks down in the south near the museum area. Doesn't matter. I digress once again. So we show up to this, and we are the only Caucasian people in this whole place. And not only that, we are sitting. It's in the semicircle, and we are like right in the spotlight because we're right in the front. So during the first half, this is great entertainment. I would challenge. I'm telling you, you got to go see it. I mean, it was amazing, and it was actually very Christian based. It was a Christian group. It was ministry too at the same time. But the circus master, the ringmaster, was just amazing talent. Amazing. He was funny. He was charming. He had talent to dance. So they would be crowd interactive. Well, they did a dance contest, so to speak. So what did they do? They dragged the only white guy out of the crowd to have him come up and dance. And me being me, I played along. And I came out there on stage, so it's me and 3 other people. And, they say white guys can't dance. I proved him right. But I'm up there, and it's one of those, he does something, I do something. And I did so bad, and I tried my hardest. I mean, I was really trying my hardest. And everybody thought, because I was so bad, everybody thought that I was clowning around. I was trying to make it look like white people can't dance. I was so bad. But the funny thing is, when I was done, it was intermission. Everybody wanted to talk to Dana and I because we were such good sports about it. But I was so bad. I mean, I was so bad, even though I tried my hardest. I mean, I even ended with, they had to do this thing at the end where it's like this flip turn thing, and I mean, it was. I'll put the video. It's on my Facebook. I'll put the video up, and anybody who goes on my YouTube channel, I'll add it to the end of this video today. But it was a lot of fun. But I realized how bad. Oh, Dave Flash, you've seen the video. He says I brought it. It was bad. It was just bad. So I got time for a word. Did I miss any words out there? I can't back up, unfortunately. First word to come up, and I'll tell a story because I've gone through all your words. All right, well, you know what? Somebody yesterday said toilet. So I'll tell you a toilet story, but it won't be what you think. Who said all you can do is talk? You're a dancer. Yes. I told the Be Righteous story yesterday, Dave Fleischer. You're going to have to check yesterday's feed. I told it. But I didn't say which Dave, but people kind of guessed. So, toilet. So, my mom and stepdad visited Alaska up here in Nome this year. And when we travel here, there's actually, even though you can only fly to Nome, but there's 2 villages you can visit, sort of. One is on the other side of a river. You can see the village, but you can't get across. And the other one you can actually get to. But we traveled just to see nature, basically 70 miles, give or take, in 3 directions. Well, the problem with traveling in Nome, it's not like a regular road. It takes hours and hours to travel on these roads. Well, we took food with us, and Norm and I had no problem using the bathroom. But then there's my mom, Cheryl, and my wife, Dana, which wasn't quite so easy for us. And here's the other problem. When you travel here in Nome, when you go out in the country, you don't go out empty-handed. I carry a Glock 20 with 10 millimeter with bear bullets in it. I'm loaded. I'm loaded for bear. And it actually means something here. So it was interesting to use the toilet here in Nome or out in the road for women. It wasn't like, hey, just go hide behind this bush, because you're in the tundra. There are really no bushes. So what would happen was, and they very seldom had to do it for this reason, it was quite the scene. I would have to go outside. I would load one in the chamber, and not thinking anything would happen, but we always had to be prepared. And I would stand in the middle of the road. Norm would be in the truck down the road, and then I'd have Mom on one side and Dana on the other side, and I'm standing there keeping an eye out just in case a moose or something comes down the road, or and I'm holding a loaded gun so that my mom and my wife can use the bathroom. That's how toilets work in the tundra of Alaska. So I've only got 4 minutes left, so I'm going to tell my story, the Bachelorette story. So this is my incriminating story of the day. And if you want to throw some words out for tomorrow's Bedhead Chat with Chad, go ahead. So my sister-in-law, Amanda, got married, and she asked if we would throw her bachelorette party. Well, not me, but Dana, at our house. And this is, just so you know, this story is from the 90s. This is when I was young. This is before I was a youth pastor. This is before I was even good. This is the evil, evil Chad. And so we had it at the house, and I helped them get the party started by being the bartender. And as we were doing that, a good bartender makes sure all the drinks taste good, because I was doing mixed drinks and all that. So I would taste the drinks and make sure. And then after a while, I had tasted too many drinks, and the party got a little crazy, and they started doing tequila. And at that time, I was a party person. I mean, I had my party days. Some of you know me from those days. That if you're really, really, really old, you remember my party days. And we used to start parties with, we called it the tequila showdown. We take a fifth of tequila, we do shot, 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 pass around until the tequila bottle was down, and that's how we started a party. Well, at this party, I'm surrounded by a bunch of girls, and I'm showing off, and I took a bottle of tequila, and I poured it into a 32-ounce glass. It's something about me and downing 32 ounces of glass. And I poured it, that's my 2-minute alarm. I poured it into a 32-ounce glass, and I'm not saying it all went down my throat, but I downed this bottle, this whole 32-ounce glass of tequila, minus what went down the side of me. And all I remember is about 3 minutes. And I went outside, I made it outside somehow, out into our picnic table outside. And it was an old picnic table, you know, like the rotted out style picnic table that you never use. And all I remember is waking up in the morning with a sore hand, and I had pounded a hole in the picnic table so I didn't have to lift my head. I won't give too much gruesome detail, but yeah, that was a very rough night. And Amanda, you wanted me to tell the story. I told the story. See, I'm not afraid to incriminate myself. That was not a happy day, but that was the only time ever in my life that I was black out, passed out, nasty, and I've never. That was my wake up call in life. So let's make a good story out of this. You know, not everybody has to learn the hard way. I learned the hard way. I've never done that again. That was back in early 90s. No, we'll never do it again. Oh, it was terrible. I still have. Oh, just thinking about it, it was bad. So listen. This has been Bedhead Chat with Chad. You give me a word, I'll find a story either from my life or from people in my life. All you need to know is, hey, if you're stuck at home, don't worry. Don't shower. Don't shave. You got no one to impress. Don't look in the mirror. It doesn't matter. So, we're going into, on a serious note for a second, we're going into Easter week. We're going into all this time. For those of you that are followers of Christ, those of you that are church people, listen, don't stress, okay? Don't stress. You know, you're not going to be in church. You're not going to be, but the church has left the building. You know, right now, even though I'm telling stories from my life, we're doing church right now because we're together. So listen, hey, over and out. This has been Bedhead Chat with Chad. I got a lot more stories. If you got a story you want to share, let me know. We're going to work this out. We're going to make this fun. Maybe one of these times I'll have one of you guys on with me. We'll do a Zoom interview, and some of you guys can share your stories on Bedhead Chat with Chad. So make sure you have your bedhead going, and we'll see you tomorrow.